Hello friends, greetings to you. Good to know you all through this video. Friend, do you think it will be good for you if you know to speak in English language? Do you think speaking in English language can help you in many different ways in your life? Do you really need English? If that is so, and if you do not know how to speak in English language, what should we do then? How to develop speaking in English language? What should we do? Well, here is a clue for that. This clue can really help you to develop your speaking skill in English language. In fact, in any language for that matter. This is the clue. This is not an ordinary clue, but this is the clue that you should follow if you really want to develop your speaking skill in any language for that matter. So it will also help you to speak in English language. Friend, before we go to the clue, let us see the importance of speaking in English language in today's society. Good. You might be seeing youngsters speaking in English language to their friends. Why? They have their own mother tongue. All of them know to speak in their own mother tongue. Why then they need to talk in English? The reason is when they communicate to their friends in English language, they feel proud of themselves. They feel as if their stature is higher. Good. So youngsters need English for that purpose. In your case, you might be needing English because you might be traveling to a new country where your mother tongue is not spoken. You might be traveling to a country where your mother tongue is not spoken. It's a new country. You're going to face the new culture. You're going to walk around with people who you do not know earlier. How to communicate to them? It's going to be difficult for you. So you need to develop first speaking in English language, so that you will be comfortable and your stay in the new country will be quite happier. So you need English, right? Good. Sometimes back, some people tried to go to Japan in search of a job. And the Japanese government has insisted that whoever travels to Japan to work must know Japanese language. So all those aspirants who wanted to get a job in Japan, first they went to a course to learn Japanese language so that they can travel to Japan and then can work there. That's true because they need Japanese language. In order to be in Japan, to communicate with Japanese, they need, so that they can even convince their boss, right? So even you might be wanting to know how to speak in English for a purpose which you might be knowing. If you know to speak in English, you become a hot property which goes for a higher price. Am I right? If you attend an interview and if you know how to speak in English and convince your boss, convince the people who are interviewing you, and if they are convinced by your reply in English, your communication in English, that will impress them. That will add the value to yourself. You will succeed the interview, right? In 3 or 4 days, you will know that you are called to join the job. So you need English for many different purposes. Good friend. Now let's go into the clue. Before I tell you the clue once again, I'm going to ask you a question. How did you learn to speak in your mother tongue? Can you tell me? Come on, friend. Today, you might be 30 years old and plus, or 40 years old and plus, or sometimes 55 years and plus. Let us all go back to our childhood days when we were babies. How do you think we all learned to speak in our mother tongue? How did you learn to speak in your mother tongue when you were a baby? Can you recollect and see those your good old childhood days? Come on, think and see. Do you think your parents admitted you in schools to learn the language to speak? Were you admitted to school so that you would learn your mother tongue to speak? Who taught you to speak in your mother tongue? Was there a teacher appointed at your home to teach you? Never, friend. We never depended on anybody to develop our speaking skill in our mother tongue. Right? Do you agree with me? So what really helped you to speak in your mother tongue? I would say the only thing what you did was, the only exercise which you did was listening to your mother tongue. When you were a baby, from day one you were born, you were exposed to the sounds of your mother tongue in and around you. In your home, your parents would have spoken in your mother tongue. Your sisters and brothers would have spoken in your mother tongue. The visitors, whoever came there to visit you because you were born, all spoke to you in your mother tongue, right? So all that you could hear was the sounds of your mother tongue, the tone of your mother tongue, the pronunciation of your mother tongue, the accent of your mother tongue depending on your locality. Good? That's what you did. You were continuously listening to your mother tongue throughout your childhood days. Knowingly, unknowingly, this is what you did when you were a child. And then slowly after a year and a half, you start repeating whatever your mother speaks to you. Right? Mother will take the child in her hand and then she will ask the child, come on child, come on say, mummy, mummy. Come on say, mummy. Then the baby will repeat. Not exactly, but the baby will try to repeat what the mother said. Baby doesn't have any shyness, doesn't have any feeling whether the other people who can hear me would think I'm right or wrong and so on. Right? It never bothered about somebody's feeling, never bothered about what somebody would think about his way of repetition, his way of speaking the mother tongue. The baby spoke. Baby spoke without any hesitation. The baby repeated whatever mother or father spoke to him or her. right? So the main thing what you did for 1.5 years or 2 years in your life after you were born was only listening to your mother tongue, right? And then after 2 years, you started repeating what your mother spoke to you, what your mother asked you to repeat. That's what you did. When you were a baby, a just born baby, you were listening and you were able to develop speaking in your mother tongue. Why not now? We are all matured people. We are grown up people. We have good awareness of the need of English, right? You need English for your own purpose. Why not we apply the same technique now? Friend, this is the only technique, only tip that you should follow if you want to speak in any new language. Remember this, not only English. If you want to speak in any language, you have to listen to that language in advance. Now tell me, have you ever exposed yourself to listening to English language? How many minutes or how many hours you were listening to English in your life every day? Think and see. You will know. The clue is this, my dear friend. Listen to English language as frequently as you can. I would promise to you, you would start speaking in English in a very short span of time. Whatever I'm telling you is the truth, and that's the only way for you to develop. The good example was when you were a baby. There was no teacher to teach you to speak in your mother tongue. Your parents did not admit you to schools to learn your mother tongue. All you did was listening to your mother tongue and then slowly repeating to whoever spoke to you, right? This is what you have to do now. Friend, when you were a baby, everywhere what you could hear was only your mother tongue. So all the sound that went into your ear was your mother tongue, right? So what you should do today, if you want to develop your speaking skill in English language, put yourself in a situation or in a place where you hear only to English if possible. Of course, it might not be possible. It may not be possible. Why? We are not going to live in a country where English is a mother tongue, right? You may be traveling to Gulf countries where Arabic is spoken. You might be traveling to some European countries where their own mother tongue is spoken. You might be traveling to some African countries where they have their own mother tongues, right? So English is not spoken widely everywhere unless you travel to the native English countries, right? So you cannot put yourself in the midst of English speaking people all the time. If that is possible, please put yourself in the midst of English sounds. Let your ears be opened to the sounds of English as frequently as possible. If you are not living in the native English speaking country, then friend, try to listen to English language using your own mobile phones. You all have headphones. You all have earbuds. You all have smart mobile phones. Use them. Plug the earphones to your mobile. Search for good listening programs in the net. There are number of programs which helps to speak in English language. So go ahead and listen. You will definitely develop your spoken English. Right. If you go on listen, how can you start speaking in English? Good. First thing, don't think that you are inferior to anybody. Don't think that you cannot do that. Think always positively. Be proud of yourself. Think you can definitely speak in English. With that attitude, try speaking in English to your friends, whoever is nearby to you, right? Start speaking. Don't worry whether your pronunciation is right or wrong. Don't worry your sound is exactly to the sounds of the native speakers of English. Don't worry about it. Just start speaking. English language has got the character to adopt every country's culture. We have British English, we have American English, we have Indian English, we have African English. So don't worry about the pronunciation. All that you need to develop is speaking in English. Some people are worried about speaking in English exactly like native speakers. It's not needed. We need English to communicate in our new environment so that we communicate freely to our new friends, new colleagues, to our new boss. Right? So if we make our boss to understand us by speaking in English language, if we can make our friends to understand us when we speak in English to them, when we make our colleagues to understand us when we speak in English language, then the purpose is achieved. We need English to communicate. That's it. And when you speak English language, if your audience are able to understand you, follow you, get you, then you are a good speaker. There is no enough worrying about your pronunciation, your ability, and so on. Right? So don't worry. Don't feel shy. After listening certain period of time, start speaking in English language to your own friends, whoever might be staying with you in the same room, in the same house. Don't worry about whether you are right or wrong. Remember this. The child never bothered about his or her sound, his or her way of pronouncing the words. Mother will say mummy and the baby will repeat saying mum, mum, mummy, mummy, like that. And the baby never bothered. He just developed repeating, and then started speaking well in the mother tongue. So don't worry about all those factors, right? The first thing what you have to do is listen to English frequently. If you are going to watch TV, watch English programs. If you are going to watch a movie in a theater, prefer to watch English movies. When you watch such programs on TV and in the theater, observe the way how they pronounce their words. Observe the lips movements when they pronounce the words. You need to observe all those things. And then repeat saying the word as they say to yourself. Repeat. Go on repeating. That's how you have to develop your speaking skill. The only exercise that you have to do mainly in the beginning is listening to English. So, every day, purposely allot a certain time, allot 30 minutes. Keep ready 30 minutes for only this purpose of listening to English language in your life. Friends, many different programs we are hearing into our ears. We are trying to get to know, right? So why not we spend 30 minutes or 20 minutes a day to listening to English? Try your best. Allot a time, perhaps in the evening or perhaps in the morning, sometimes whenever you are free, sometimes before going to bed. Allot a time, at least 20 minutes to 30 minutes every day. Listen to English, depending on your free time. If you want to quickly learn to speak in English language, increase the time of listening to English language. Increase. Put yourself in an atmosphere where English is spoken widely so that you can develop your speaking in English language quickly and easily. Good friend, I believe this video would have helped you at least to an extent to know how to develop your speaking skill. In my next video, I'll bring to you another concept related to this. Don't miss it. Let's be friends and let us continue meeting each other through this program. The channel name is Your English is Your Pride. Please subscribe to this channel and give a like to all the programs whenever you watch. Good to see you once again. We'll meet in our next video. Good friend, your English is your pride. Indeed, your English is your pride, and that's the title of this channel. Good luck. See you then. Bye bye.